Hello, my name is Deska, and I am a game developer. For the past month, I have been concocting something very special to me. After 5 smaller challenges I completed over the past few months, I've finally gotten myself to the point where I'm confident that I can make a simple mobile game without it being an absolutely terrible piece of shit. So, proudly, I present to you my first ever absolutely terrible piece of shit. One thing that I find helps me tremendously to stay focused while developing a game is setting out clear goals and features that I want to implement for the first few weeks. I use Trello to do this. Starting a Unity project, as always, pretty basic. First of all, you gotta give it a name. The rest is pretty easy. Find yourself a directory to store your project files. You will be needing them. They are somewhat of importance. And make sure you pick 2D because you see these? Do you see these? Who the f wants to deal with these? And you know, through all the money I don't make through game development, I just bought myself a new SSD. So, you know, Unity's running pretty quick. Now, Deska was a little bit of a dunce here and decided not to record the first day of development for whatever reason why. So what you're seeing now is me working on the wall spawning system as well as the difficulty system about a day into development. I've never been a particularly good artist. I have practiced over the past few months, but one of the things that has really saved me is this program called Ace Sprite. It is only $20 and I love it. It is my child. I will never go back to doing pixel art in Photoshop again. I still did use Photoshop to give the sprites stroke and glow, so they kind of, you know, pop a bit better. I was going to see if I could do this in the Unity engine somehow with some 2D lighting setup, but I found it was just easier to do in Photoshop and I can save some performance. I have a lot of faith in the power of modern phones. However, any performance that I can save, rendering something that I don't need to render, I'm gonna do it. And to the person somehow playing this on like a 20-year-old, I don't know, Nokia or something, honestly, you deserve 5 frames per second, sir. Also, hit me up, because I don't know how the fuck you managed to get this game on that device, considering the fact it only worked on mine about 13% of the time. I think after about a day and a bit, I had a working prototype. The whole point of the game is you can use your touch controls as kind of a slingshot to propel yourself from wall to wall on either side of the screen. It gets harder and harder as you hit more and more walls and go higher and higher. It gets faster. There's more negative power-ups that come down, so like these red balls come down. If you hit them, you die. There's some positive power-ups. There's these silver balls. Eventually, later on in the game, I add in coins to allow the player to buy skins. I think that's a massive incentive for players to come back to the game and play it concurrently. It was a lot of fun looking at the difference between building a game with the intention to release it and just building a game for fun. When I have the intention to release something like this game, it's more about bringing a quality product to market rather than learning something. And it's not that I didn't learn a lot of things, it's just I really found myself focusing on the quality of the game a lot more in general. I pictured myself in someone else's shoes, first seeing this on the App Store. I tried to picture what their reactions would be, first seeing the sprites, first seeing some of the features. And I think that's a good way of going about it. Because at the end of the day, you're not the one that's going to be playing it. You're going to be the one that sat there on the Google Developer Console, seeing that it has 3 installs, knowing full well that your expectations were probably less. Any win's a win, am I right, ladies? One thing that I had so much fun in developing this game was messing around with Unity's particle system and the trail renderer. Honestly, I think if I didn't include these 2 things, I would have probably developed it in half the time that I did, mainly because I spent hours just sitting there mucking with particles and with trails, making everything look pretty when it really wasn't necessary, although it does add a lot of juice to the game, a lot of feel to it. Yeah. No oceans ever large enough for you. One thing that I struggled with when it came to the programming of this game is complexity. I found complexity just comes with time. The more things that you have to hold in your head constantly throughout the development of the game, the more things that you have to constantly keep track of, the less brain power you're going to have available when a problem pops up or a bug pops up that you have to fix, and you're just going to ruin your patience. I find when you've already got so many things in your head that you're trying to keep track of, you don't have the capacity to solve the problems that arise during development. I found myself on YouTube a lot, searching things like clean code principles. There are really simple rules that you can follow to assist you in keeping your complexity low, or at least assist you in not having to keep track of so many things at once. I really recommend a book called Code Complete by Steve McConnell. It's a bit old, it's from the 90s, edition 2 is the one you want, but honestly, if you are just getting into programming and you struggle a lot with complexity and keeping things simple, this is the book for you. One thing my game was missing was sound. Sound is extremely important or good sound design is extremely important with games. Fortunately, there's a lot of free tools out there for sound, like Audacity. One of the ones that I used is SFXR, I think it's called. It's like a little 8-bit sound tone generator. Really helpful if you just want some simple 8-bit sounds in there. But also, music is incredibly important. And I have zero experience when it comes to creating music, at least digitally. So I reached out to one of my good friends and no, but for real, he did an awesome job at making this track. It is exactly what I wanted, so thank you, Milton, very much for that. Some of the last things I did with Wall Bounce a few days before I released it. I added in Unity ads to get that bread. I gave the user the ability to show a rewarded ad and basically be able to continue on from where they left off when they died. I think it's important to give the player something to come back to and something to strive towards. So I added a little bit of a shop, made a whole bunch of skins for particles, for trails, and for the balls themselves, and gave the player the ability to collect these coins and spend them at the shop on cosmetic items. So this has been the journey for me making my first game and releasing it. You can play it on the Google Play Store. I will put the link in the description. Unfortunately, it is not available currently for iOS because I don't have a spare kidney to sell to buy an Apple device to be able to publish it on the App Store. So thanks, Apple. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. I've been Deska, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.